Shalom, shalom, shalom. I know that it has been a while since I've done a live or even a video. I don't even know if anybody's going to jump on, but hopefully you guys will see it after. I know it's a little late in the evening. It's 9:26 Eastern, so um, people may jump on and they may not. However, I just wanted to come on here and share. Actually, this is the lesson that I did. Many of you know that I have an online Zoom ministry, and it's called Aruka at the Well, which is the name of the platform as well. But I did a lesson today, and I really feel compelled to share it with YASHARAL. And the name of it is Shammah and Obey. And so it'll make sense. I promise it'll make sense as I go through the lesson. But I feel with everything that's happening and everything that's going on just within our community, not even in the world, that I need to share this lesson. So praise Yah and pray for me. And I hope that this small discussion or this small lesson that I'm going to share will be a blessing. Deuteronomy 6:4-9. Hear, or Shema, O Israel, the Most High Yah is one, and you shall love the Most High, thy Yah, with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto thy children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon thine hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes. And you shall write them upon the posts of thy house and on thy gates. The way my brain works is certain words will pop out at me, and I want to know the definition. So I actually wanted to know what the Hebrew definition was for the word hear, listen, or shema. A careful hearing of someone or something, as well as responding appropriately in obedience or action. To publish, understand, diligently show, sound, declare, discern, noise, perceive, tell, or report. Then a breakdown. Don't judge me, y'all. I'm still learning the Hebrew, so don't judge me if I stumble on this one. To observe and Shama, to observe and press into the mighty vision, or to observe, focus on, and consume the mighty vision. When you do a breakdown of Shama, that's the breakdown that you get. And I'm not going to go into full detail, but that's what that's how the Hebrew would define the word Shema. When we stop listening, we lose our covering. When we lose our covering, we are not protected from repeating negative history. Shalom, Karina, I think I'm saying that right. I don't want slow mode on, but I don't think I can take it off. But I'm not technologically sound. If you guys can help me, that's fine. But shalom, sis. So, when we stop listening, we lose our covering. When we lose our covering, we are not protected from repeating negative history. And then what happens when we're disobedient? I think the evidence is quite clear within our community currently. There's evidence that suggests that someone's not listening, that someone has not diligently taught the word, the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High to their children and children's children. We forgot that when we sit in our houses and when we walk by the way and when we lie down and when we rise up, that we're supposed to remember Shema. From these observations of being born and having a story to tell all the way up till now is evidence that somebody is not listening. And we'll be able to see that someone stopped teaching Shema. We may not be able to pinpoint the exact time and location, but we can all see that for the most part, it's gone. The ability for us to follow out, listen, obey, and transfer that information is gone. And as I was sharing with the women in the group today, there's a lot of things that have been happening in my own personal life that I had to take a road trip the other day. And while I was driving back, I was thinking about my own life, and I was thinking about the tragedy and the mistakes and the bad decisions and being a single mom and being in a relationship that ended up where we were engaged, but he ended up with a Gentile and we ended up not together, still having feelings for each other. Just a big mess. And Yah started to show me how even all of the broken pieces of my life are biblical. And I'll get to that. It'll make sense. But everything that we do is biblical. And it's either evidence of us listening and obeying and transferring that word generationally, or what we really see is the lack of that evidence because someone stopped listening, someone stopped obeying, and someone stopped transferring the law, statutes, and commandments throughout all generations like the Most High required that we would do. That's why this awakening is so important. And even that is skewed. People have made the awakening into idolatry. And it's not what Yah intended for it to be. And people still don't understand why Yahuwah awakened us in the first place. It wasn't for bragging rights. It wasn't for us to be superior, which we will be, but in a biblical text, not a fleshly text where we're thinking that we're supposed to be over people and lord it over people and abuse people. That's not why he awakened us. In fact, even many of us who are in the awakening are still deaf and still blind. Jeremiah 5:21. Hear this now, O foolish people without understanding, who have eyes and see not, and who have ears and hear not, because we become stiff-necked, just like the scripture says, where we want to be right, we want to debate, we want to challenge, we want to hate women, and we want to hate men, we want to hate each other, because somebody forgot Shammah. Ezekiel 12:2. Son of man, you dwell in the midst of a rebellious house, which has eyes to see, but does not see, and ears to hear, but does not hear, for they are a rebellious house. So we are, in essence, lost, but in the house, because we have made, again, this awakening into idolatry. And that's not what Yah's intention is for that. So we have to ask ourselves, and it's not an easy question to answer, why do we think Yahuwah awakened us in the first place? The answer is not that hard. I kind of stumped some of my sisters today, and it does seem like a hard question to answer, but when you stop and you think about it, the reason, hey Lisa, shalom. When we stop and think about it, the answer is not that hard. Yahuwah awakened us so we could return and we could Shammah, we could hear and we could obey, and we could teach this to our children and our children's children. So then we have to ask ourselves what our own personal agendas have been lately, and do those agendas outweigh our need to be obedient to Yahuwah? I get that we have desires in life, but you look over your life, and as I say this to determine if when you wanted something so badly, you eliminated Yah, even currently, are there things in your life that you have overlooked Yahuwah to get because somebody stopped listening and somebody stopped teaching us to listen? And so what we've learned how to do in this Babylonian system is to be self-sufficient, to be spiritually deaf, and to do things on our own. And that's why we're in the mess that we're in. We weren't supposed to have abortions, multiple relationships, multiple partners, drug addictions, afflictions, and ailments. We weren't supposed to have that. But somebody didn't listen. So now that we have all determined that if we can determine the outcome by our fruit. And so if we look at the fruit of our current conditions, that means we were obedient, or that means that we decided to take things into our own hands and do things our own way. So I'm going to read something that everybody in YASHARAL is familiar with, but I just want to read it again because I want us to think about what Yahuwah is saying. And this ties into the Shammah. Deuteronomy 28. And I'm not sure how far I'm going to go, but I am going to read this. And I just want everybody who listens to this to do a self-evaluation of where you fall into this, where you're living, where your behaviors, where's your thoughts and actions, where do they fall into this passage? And it shall come to pass, if you shall hearken diligently unto the voice of the Most High Yah, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Most High Yah will set thee on high above all nations on the earth. And all those blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if you hearken unto the voice of the Most High thy Yah. Blessed shall you be in the city, blessed shall you be in the field, blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. Blessed shall thy basket be thy basket and thy store. Blessed shall thou be when you come in and when you go out. The Most High shall cause thine enemies to rise up against thee, to be smitten before thy face. That means that he will allow the enemy to step to us, but then they're smitten by him when we obey. He breaks them down right before us, and they think that they are going to win and conquer us, but they're not, only because of our obedience. Enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face, they shall come out against thee one way and flee before thee seven. Is that currently happening in YASHARAL? The Most High shall command the blessing upon thee in thy storehouses, and in all that you set your hands unto. And he shall bless thee in the land which the Most High thy Yah gives thee. The Most High shall establish thee an holy people unto himself, a Kodesh set apart people unto himself, as he has sworn unto thee, if you shall keep the commandments of the Most High Yah, and walk in his ways. And all people of the earth shall see that you are called by the name of Yahuwah, and they shall be afraid of thee. And the Most High shall make thee plenteous in goods, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy ground, in the land which the Most High swore unto thy fathers to give you. Yahuwah shall open unto thee his good treasure, the heaven to give the rain unto thy land in his season, and to bless all the work of thine hand. And you shall lend unto many nations, and shall not borrow. And the Most High shall make thee the head, and not the tail. And he shall be above only, and you shall not be beneath, if that thou hearken unto the commandments of the Most High Yah, which I command thee this day to observe and to do them. And you shall not go aside from any of the words which I command thee this day, to the right hand or to the left, to go after other gods to serve them. If I were to do a self-evaluation, where would I find myself in terms of obedience? Where would I see my family? Where would I see those in YASHARAL around me? But it shall come to pass, if you will not hearken unto the voice of Yahuwah, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shall you be in the city. Cursed shall you be in the field. Cursed shall that be thy basket and thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, and the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. Cursed shalt thou be when thou come in, and when you go out. The Most High shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke, and all that thou set thy hand unto for to do, until you be destroyed, and until you perish quickly because of the wickedness of thy doings, where thou hast forsaken me. And the curses go on, and they continue on. And what we have to understand is somebody forgot Deuteronomy 6:4-9, where he said, "Hear, Shammah, O Israel." Somebody forgot to put this on the doorposts of their hearts, in their homes. When you rise up, when you lie down, we were supposed to do this. There's too many scriptures in the word that say, don't forget me, remember me, don't forget the Most High Yah. And we have. Look at the condition of our family. Why are some of our family members not waking up? Because somebody forgot to, if we don't Shema, and then we don't share it, and if we're not showing obedience, then we've forgotten. Look at the condition of our lives, our families, our friends, our relatives, family, relatives, same thing. But if we look at those things, then that's not Yah saying, I've turned my back. Those things are being said, and we're experiencing what we're experiencing to remind us it's time to Shema. Then we have to go back and ask ourselves, why did Yah awaken us? So we could go back and listen. Because once we listen and we obey, then people are going to see the fruit of that. And then as they see the fruit of that, that will be the desire of their hearts. But our families are in such disarray and destruction because somebody forgot to listen, and somebody grew tired and decided that they knew better than Yah, and decided not to pass these things along from generation to generation. He said to teach this unto your children and your children's children. And I shared in my meeting today that this relationship that I was in, it meant a lot to me. And he passed away recently. We were in sin, but we didn't know. And so even though I grieved his death, I also had to ask Yah to forgive both of us because we didn't know, because someone stopped Shema. Someone stopped listening and obeying, which means that somebody in our generation, in our bloodline, none of us can really pinpoint or figure out where it stopped, but somebody stopped listening and obeying the Most High. Somebody stopped conveying that information, those instructions, and those laws, statutes, and commandments. That's why we have family members that believe that they've been done away with. So the Most High Yah woke you up so that you would begin again to Shema, so that you would be the one to wake up your family, to wake up people around you that are Israel. I told the ladies in my group today, and this is for everybody who has been awakened in YASHARAL. We have to become revolutionary in these last days, because we have to be able to reach those who are still lost. And if people understand the blessings and the curses, and if people understand there's a system in place that Yah doesn't have to do anything, he spoke it and it is so. So this system is in place, and all we have to do is two things: Shema and obey. And we have to revolutionize this information so that people will stray away from bickering and fighting and worrying about what other people are doing and hating. We have to stray away from that. We can't even worry about what the president is doing, what this one is doing. I don't want to know. The scripture says, if you keep your mind on me, I'll keep you in perfect peace. If I keep my mind and my foot in the world just to make sure that I know what's happening, it creates chaos. It creates fear. Out of fear, we give birth to desperation, and then we start to follow the ways of this world because we don't trust Yah. And if we're following the ways of the world, we can't hear him, we can't listen, and we can't obey. The definition of revolutionary is involving or causing a complete or dramatic change. That's why Yah awakened you, y'all. That's why he has opened your eyes to this truth. He needs a people that will Shammah and obey. He needs an awakened people that will tell these things to their family, to their children, and to their children's children. Otherwise, we're going to be utterly destroyed. And we all understand that only a remnant will be saved. But Yah's remnant and my remnant are two different things. So we don't know what the size of that remnant is. And we most certainly don't know who will be a part of that remnant. So we have to go back to listening, obeying, and sharing what the Most High Yah says. We have to determine how we return back to 6:4-9, which is called the Shema. How do we return back to that? How do we accomplish that? How do we apply that to our lives and apply it in ministry? How do we reach people? How do we get them to understand who they are and the power of their inheritance, but also the dangers of Sheol? So what I try to push in my ministry is for my sisters to heal. Aruka at the Well, and this is not a plug, kind of, but Aruka at the Well is a ministry where we're dealing with our trauma. We're on healing journeys so that we're able to obviously heal from the trauma that we've been through. But what I tell my sisters in the group is that the healing that is to take place that's not the end all be all. We're supposed to heal so that we can walk out our callings. But if we're constantly broken and wounded, we can't walk out what Yah has called us to do. If we focus on our wounds and the broken pieces and the trauma, we can't Shema and we can't obey. There are many, many people that come to Aruka that are gifted, but because of the trauma, either they leave because they can't handle dealing with the trauma or dealing with the steps that it takes to heal, or they don't believe that nothing is too hard for Yah and they walk away. Or they spend years and years trying to figure out how to fix their lives, how to do this, and they're not incorporating the Most High because they've lost their hearing. Shema and obey. The other thing that we have to remember is, hold on, I lost it. Hold on. We have to think about why the enemy fights so hard against us. He doesn't want us to accomplish Yahuwah's will. Why is that? Enemy doesn't fight anybody that's not a threat to him. We don't realize that we're a threat. We don't realize the power that we have because we've lost our ability to listen. We've lost our ability to Shema and obey. It's that simple. One of my favorite scriptures is, I have a few, but one of them is Matthew 6:33. Seek ye first the kingdom of Yah and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. That's a whole system that he set in place. Seek, to pursue. First, you don't have to define first. That's before anything else. Seek ye first the kingdom, which you're actually in pursuit of his power and his righteousness when we live a Kodesh right living. And then all these things shall be added. We're not seeking Yah. We're focusing on the trauma. We're focusing on current events. We're focusing on what am I going to do? We're focusing on worrying. We're focusing on jobs. We're focusing on everything except for Yah, because we've lost our ability to heal. But Yahuwah has awakened you specifically to open your ears to hear and obey. And I know I'm saying the same thing over and over again, but we have to get this because we have to understand who we are. Do you ever imagine what would happen if we all got to a place of strength on this healing journey? And it's not a fictitious or fairy tale thing, but we all struggle with believing. And the truth is, the struggle isn't on Yah's part, it's on ours. Because struggling, we have to go back and look at our inheritance. Fear is not part of our inheritance. Doubt is not part of our inheritance. Struggling, illness, sickness, all of the things that come with the curses, they are part of an inheritance of a disobedient nation. But when we come into obedience, I read to you what the blessings are, but we've forgotten because somebody didn't speak these things to us and we didn't pass them on to our children and our parents didn't pass them on. So me living in sin with somebody, I didn't know it was sin. Or somebody who has children out of wedlock and somebody didn't tell them about listening and obeying. They don't know it's sin, y'all. And so what happens is, here we are. Look at the condition of our culture. And so then we have to understand what his plan is. And if we study the word, we'll know. Each and every one of us has a different path. Each and every one of us has different gifts, different calling. But the Most High has the same plan. That is to gather his children, bring us into the kingdom, that we would serve him, that we would worship him, and that we would be in complete compliance and obedience. But we can't get there because we're so busy being stuck that we can't achieve what he has for us. And we have to get it in our hearts that we're more than conquerors. I'm almost finished. Romans 8, and I'm going to start at verse 31. Hold on. I gotta hold this up, you guys. I'm getting older. All right. What shall we say then to these things? If Yah be for us, who can be against us? He that spared not his own son, but delivered him up for us all, how shall he not with him also freely give us all things? Shall lay anything to the charge of Yahuwah's elect? It is Yah that justifies. Who is he that condemns? It is Yahusha that died, yea, rather that is risen again, who is even at the right hand of Yah, who also makes intercession for us. Who shall separate us from the love of Yahusha? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril or sword, as it is written, for thy sake we are killed all the day long. We are accounted as sheep for the slaughter. Nay, no. In all things we are more than conquerors through him that loved us. For I am persuaded that neither death nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of Yahusha, which is in Yahusha, for the love of Yah, which is in Yahusha. We are more than conquerors. Something that I shared, the revelation that Yah gave me. We are at war. And I say this a lot at Aruka at the well, because we are. The enemy is at war and he's battling for our minds. Because if he can get our minds, he can destroy our witness and he can sever the ties with our relationship with the Most High. So if Yah is saying that we are more than conquerors, and if you put that together with the fact that he awakened you, he has put his highest ranking warriors to fight this battle. That is you. YASHARAL. That is you. When Yah looks at you and you're in constant battle, and we're fighting this war, not caving to the war, not shrinking, not surrendering, but we're fighting through the word of Yah, through fasting, through prayer. He sees you as a high-ranking warrior to fight this battle. And anybody that he sees that way, he will equip for you to succeed, to win, to conquer. But we can't walk into a battle already feeling conquered, y'all. And that's what we're doing. We worry, we fear, we fret. And I also say this often. Everybody is going through something right now. Everybody. Or you just came out of something, or you're about to go into something. Everybody knows that old saying. However, this is what I know about the Most High. And when I pray, instead of worrying, I remind myself and I remind Yah, there is a day of deliverance marked on your calendar for me. And help me to stand until I get to that day. Strengthen me. The scripture says, when my flesh gets weak, he renews my strength. There's everything is biblical. Everything is going to show you if you're under curses or blessings. Everything. Every part of your life, your childhood, your adolescence, your teenage years, your adulthood, where you are right now. In the word of Yah, it's going to show you where you are. Do I fall under blessings? Do I fall under curses? Am I more than a conqueror, or have I surrendered to the battle? This is my short little live for this evening. And I pray that you would reconsider some of the things that you're going through. And if you are not sharing Deuteronomy 6:4-9, start doing it now. I'm going to close out with reading it, and then I'll be finished. Deuteronomy 6:4-9. Shema, O Yisrael, Yahuwah, our Eloah, our Ahaya, is one. And you shall love the Most High Yah with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. That's going to take focus. That's going to force you to reject anything that causes you to not love Yah with all your heart, your soul, and your might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto thy children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. I know everybody likes a little tea, a little bit of tea. Replace tea with the Shammah. Replace fussing about somebody with that. Replace complaining or worrying with prayer. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them upon the posts of thy house and on thy gates. It's not impossible, y'all, but we have to get back to that place where we Shema and we obey. That's the end of this quick video. And y'all, please pray for me, because I feel like Yah wants me to start to be more consistent. I'm praying about it because I do want to be obedient. And I thank you for listening. And I pray that this is a blessing. I pray that this is food for thought. And I pray, y'all, from this day, remember the blessings and the curses, where your life has been, but where it's going and where you desire it to be. And all of that I say in Yahusha's name. Shalom. Now I have to end it. I don't know how. Oh, here it is. I love you all so much. And thanks for watching.